6 weeks exam will be Wednesday. It will cover 7.6, which is solving inequalities. .7, which is function and equations. And 8.1, which was ratios. Stuff we're covering today obviously will not be on the test. We will review for it tomorrow during class, but the test will be Wednesday. Quite a few of you still owe me absent work. Not really supposed to take it this late, but I'm going to because you're going to need it. So you need to go on RenWeb, look at your progress report for math. Anywhere it says INC, that means that's absent work I've never received from you. Most of the absent work that has been turned in has been graded, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 assignments from, I don't think, anybody in this class. So you have till Friday to have that absent work turned in. After that, they will just be permanent zeros, so make sure you please go on and look at that. Yep.
If we don't understand something, can we come to tutoring?
Do what?
If we don't understand something still, can we come to tutoring?
Yeah. I will not have tutoring today, but I will have after school, but I will have it Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday after school, from 3:45 to 4:15, 4:30. Will not have it today, though, for I have meetings this afternoon after school, so I can't be here. All right. 8.2 rates. Okay, 8.2 rates. A rate. Go ahead and write this down. Similar to what we gave the definition for a ratio the other day. A rate is a ratio of two quantities ratio of two quantities measured in different units. Okay? Well, we said the other day that a ratio is two quantities in the same unit, okay, or they're same quantities, or we talked about the other day we talked about that one problem that I did where we did the gallon and the quarts. Okay, well those are obviously two unit of measurements that measure fluid, liquid. Okay, and we talked about how we need to change, gallons to quarts before we reduce. We talked about the other day also about the kilometers and meters, where we needed to change kilometers back to meters before we put it in fractional form and reduce it. Today, what we're doing is these are going to be items that can't be put in the same unit of measurement. For example, we're comparing miles and hours. Okay, well that's distance and time. Those two units can't be put in the same. You can't convert those. So we'll be looking at rates, and rates, first of all, opposite of what we said the other day, rates will be expressed as a proper fraction. Okay, that's the same as ratios. Mixed numbers, that is not the same as ratios. Decimals, and whole numbers. Okay, the other day we said ratios we're dealing with ratios. Ratios can only be expressed as an improper fraction or a proper fraction in lowest terms. Okay, we also said it could be expressed as, 4:2, 4, 2, 2, okay? So those are ways that you could express a ratio. Rates are different, okay? A rate is a form of a ratio, but it's expressed differently than just the ratio that we talked about on Friday, okay? The other thing that is probably the most important is rates must have a label. Okay, when you come in on Thursday when we're doing this work and we come in Friday and grade it and you don't have a label on it, it's going to be wrong. Okay, it must have a label. Now, your labels are going to look like this. For example, miles per hour. Okay, miles per hour. All your labels will have the word per in it, P-E-R, not as in purr like a cat. Okay, not P-U-R. I guess I tell you to spell purr. 2 R's, I don't doubt it's with 2 R's, but I don't even know if there's I don't even know if there's a legal definition of purr in the Webster's Dictionary or something. I don't know. Don't really care because I'm not a big cat fan. Now, we're dealing with the labels. There are accepted abbreviations for certain labels. Okay? Please do not make up your own abbreviation. Okay? For example, miles per hour, MPH. Okay, that is an accepted international abbreviation. In other words, you could say that throughout the country that uses miles per hour, the U.S. You could probably say it in Canada, even though they use metric system up there. People in Canada would know what miles per hour are, simply because of this. Most cars have the ability to do miles per hour or miles or kilometers per hour. Okay? Everybody uses hours, okay? When you go to Britain or over in Europe and England, Germany, places like that, they still function on hours and minutes. Okay? They changed everything else, but they still function on hours, minutes, seconds. Everybody does that. Days, calendar days, okay? And so the H is okay, but the difference would be, I don't know if they go KMPH or if they just go K per PH. I don't know what their accepted abbreviation is because, quite honestly, I don't really care. Well, just because they put it on your car doesn't mean that's the way that they see it. But, yes, I've seen that as well. Most cars these days, especially the newer cars, you can go in and you can change the unit of measurement that they're showing to you. In other words, where it says, maybe digital, where it says 115,000 miles, well, you can change that to kilometers, okay? And it will do the actual conversion and all that. But another one that is very common is miles per gallon. And we call this MPG. Okay, miles per gallon is the one that you will see anytime you walk on a car lot, especially a new car lot. They'll have on there, big miles per gallon rating. Okay, you'll see it on a lot of, especially these days, truck commercials, because everybody wants a truck that's more efficient in gas. And so the newest Dodge commercial, it's got a Dodge truck driving down the road out in the middle of nowhere, and then across the bottom, the top of the middle of the screen, they put 28 MPG. Okay. What they don't tell you is that's on the highway. That's not driving around town. And there's ways you'll look down at the little small print down at the bottom of the commercial, and it says, 21 miles per gallon in the city, 28 miles per gallon on the highway. And so that's another accepted abbreviation. Another one is, not dealing with cars, is words per minute. Okay, WPM. Okay, words per minute would be in typing. Okay, you do a typing time test. At least we always did when I was in high school, and except we were using typewriters, we weren't using computers. Okay, at that point in the computer industry, it was not feasible for a school to have, for example, in my typing class, I think we had 40 kids. And so it would not have been it would not have been feasible financially at that point to have 40 computers in that one little room. Back at that point, when I graduated high school in '84, 2 years later, was it 2 years later? It was 2 years later in I take it back. It was 4 years later in '88. I bought, a PC computer. They didn't have laptops at that point. Okay, a PC computer at that point was very expensive. For me to have a computer with a color monitor, okay, it was about $2,200. Okay, and that was a lot of difference in the computer then. That same computer today would cost maybe $100, maybe. At that, okay, and so at the time we did typing, and so we always had to take time test, and there was no software. We had to type it out, and we had to turn it into our teacher on a paper, and she would go through and check our mistakes, and if you had mistakes, certain things like that, she would calculate it all out. So things have obviously changed in that area, just specifically in the computer area, technology area. But that's another acceptable label for something that people would understand. That's a general label that people would understand in any of the school districts anywhere like that. Okay, so those are just three examples. We'll go over some more here in a second. But you must have a label with your answer when you're dealing with rates. If you don't, it will be wrong. Okay. For example, if I said you could travel 405 miles on a 28-gallon tank. Okay? 405 miles on a 28-gallon tank, and I want to know the unit rate. Okay? The unit rate is what we're going to be talking about throughout this whole section. The unit rate is, in other words, I want to know how many miles I can go on 1 gallon of gas. Okay, that's a unit rate. If I got 1 gallon, I can go this much. Well, I've given you a total of 405 miles on 28 gallons. So what would I have to do to figure out how much I go in 1 gallon, Drew? Yes. You basically set up a fraction, 405 miles in 28 gallons. Okay? Now, to finish this out then, we would simply, as Drew put it, we'd divide 28 into 405. Okay? Well, 28 goes into 40 one time, be 28, remainder 12, bring down my 5. 28 goes into 125. How many times? No, it's not 5, it's 4. That would be 2, carry my 3, be 112, remainder 13, bring up a 0, bring up my decimal, 130. It's going to go 4 again, be 112. This time be 18. Okay, add another 0, bring it down. 180 would be 5. No, actually be 6. Yeah, 6 would be 168. remainder 12. Okay, so to keep repeating, so we'll just say 14.5 miles per gallon. We rounded it to the nearest tenth. Most of the ones you're going to deal with in this homework will either end at the 10 spot or the 100 spot. If you do round it, it'll be because they ask you to round it, not because you need to round it. Okay? But here's what you end up having here, 14.5 miles per gallon. Okay, here's your miles. The fraction bar is representative of the word per. Okay? So whatever label's on top of your fraction obviously goes first in your label, and you say miles per gallon, and obviously we have the ability to use the abbreviation MPG on that. Okay? But anytime you're trying to find a unit rate, okay, it's just like a ratio, except now we're actually dividing it out. Where on Friday, if this would have been a ratio, you would simply reduce 405 by 28, okay, if there is a common factor. If there wasn't, then you would have left it in that form, okay. Now we have to take it down to its simplest form, okay, which is either express it as a mixed number, express it as a decimal, express it as a whole number, okay, or express it as a proper fraction. All right, now, to find somebody's average speed, how do I do that? How do I find someone's average speed?
I know. Distance multiplied by time.
No.
Distance divided by time.
There you go. Distance divided by time. Average speed is equal to distance over time. Okay, the reason it's distance over time is because the original formula for distance is equal to rate or speed times time. Okay, so to solve for the speed or the average speed, you would simply divide distance by time, because you would need to divide here, and that gives me what's left over here cancels, so that gives me speed is equal to distance over time. Okay, so you need to know that formula because there's quite a few of them in here, several of them that have where you've got to find the average speed. Now, let's look at some actual problems. Okay, let's look at this one, 12 liters in 2 days. Now, what this is, they don't tell us. They just give us a fraction, say 12 liters in 2 days. Okay, maybe that's how much they're drinking in 2 days. 12 liters of Coke in 2 days. That would be an awful lot of Coke to drink, but yeah, maybe a group of people is consuming 12 liters of Coke in 2 days. The bottom line is they want to know the unit rate. Okay, so to figure the unit rate, you're simply going to divide 2 into 12. Now, obviously, you don't have to show the division on this. Most of you obviously can do this in your head. 2 into 12 goes 6 times, which would be 12, remainder 0. And so that gives me 6 liters per day. The other way that they're going to express this is 6 liters over 1 day. Okay? Either of these would be a correct answer. 6 liters per day, or when we look at the answers on Friday when we're grading, they're going to show it like that. but I don't. Either way is acceptable. Okay. 6 liters per day or 6 liters over 1 day. So if we had this one, $56 over 8 pounds. Okay, so what would that one reduce down to? 7.
7 pounds.
Well, it'd be $7 per pound. Okay, or as I stated, $7 over 1 pound. Okay. No, that's actually about what a steak cost. $7 per pound. Now some of them, steak obviously is, like if you're getting a high-end steak, then it's probably going to be closer to $15.25 a pound. If you're getting a high-end steak. Huh? $15.25 per pound. Imagine that.
When you were using the typewriter thing, did you have to push it back?
You had to push type.
No.
No.
No, ours had a return on it where it would stay stationary, and the little ball thing would move that has all the letters on it, and so you'd type and the ball would go like that, and it'd go like that, and then when you hit return, it would go back here like that. No, most of our typewriters, because when I got to college, we did a lot of my papers I did in college. I did on a computer when I was in college, and when we got into college, they were teaching programming. They were teaching, how to program a computer, how to use it. Now, we still couldn't do, like for I'll have to bring it and show it to you. For one of my final papers, I had to write a manual, and it was a manual on how to run our TV ministry at my dad's church. And so at that time, I was in charge of my dad's TV ministry at church. And it wasn't a TV ministry. It was basically we produced the worship services we did on a local cable channel there in Decatur where I was at. And so one of my last papers I had to write was doing a manual for that. Well, in the manual we had to put pictures of the equipment. We had to show these are the buttons. And obviously then the computers were not to the point they are now. They were just basic word processing. Type in and they would print it out for you. You could move text around, but you couldn't insert images. You couldn't do any of that. So, for example, if I was typing up like a page like this where they've done 374, where they've got different types of pictures, stuff like that, nowadays they obviously just throw those pictures in there and the text adjusts. No, that's not how you literally had to figure out, okay, this picture is going to take up 2/3 of the page, and so that means so I had to leave when I was typing papers there. I had to, hit return a bunch of times, and it brings the page up, and I figured I could put four lines of text on that page. And so if I put the 4 lines of text and put my picture on it, and it was wrong, then I had to go back and adjust all the other pages as well. I had to physically go back and retype all those pages that if I didn't adjust it and do it right. So it wasn't just like, hey, throw a picture in there, hey, look, it adjusts all the text for me, puts it on the right page, blah, blah, blah. No, it wasn't any of that.
Did you glue the pictures on?
Yeah, you had to glue them on.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, you had to glue. Oh, no, it wasn't cool, trust me. I had to glue them on, and then I had to run copies of them. So you couldn't turn in the paper with the picture glued on it. Okay, you couldn't do that. That was obviously not what you're trying to do. And so you had to glue it on there, get the text right, and then make a copy of it.
Oh, that's cool.
And fortunately for me, I didn't have to pay for all that stuff because, like I said, my dad was a pastor, and our church we had a real big copier, and so I was able to do all that stuff at church. But people that weren't fortunate like that would have to go someplace and pay whatever it was at the time, 50 cents, 60 cents a copy, for a page, and my manual, if I remember right, I'd have to look at it again, but I hadn't looked at it in a while. But I think it was a 30-page paper. And so with all the different things in it, and so yeah, it was a lot harder. And so here's one of the big things is if you left out 2 sentences on your paper, then you had to retype it. You had to retype the whole thing. I mean, all the pages.
You guys didn't have whiteout?
Yeah, but if you had two sentences that you needed to add to the paper. You had to let's say you had to add 2 lines of text on the 3rd page. Well, you would add it on that 3rd page, but now you had to retype page 4, page 5, page 6, page.
You couldn't copy and paste it back to where you had it.
Oh no.
Okay.
No, I mean it's like right here. So that means I would have to retype this whole chapter from this page and back.
So you couldn't save it what you did back then?
No, it was on paper. It was a hard copy. There was no saving.
On the computer, like what you typed.
On the computer, yes. When we started doing computers, yes, we could do that. But this is for this paper. For this paper, since I had to insert images and all that mistake, or you had to add text, then you had to retype. So then I have to figure, okay, I have to put 2 lines here. Now there's a picture over here that I've got glued on my paper. Well, now those 2 lines are going to go over to this page because I don't have enough room. So now those 2 lines have to shift to another page, and so it was.
Did you have to do that?
It was a big ordeal to type up a paper like that. It was a real big deal.
Did you ever make a mistake?
Oh yeah. There was a lot of trial and error. Yeah.
Was there colored movies back then?
Yes. Yeah. There was all that, Zachary.
When did they come out?
I've never had just a black and white TV. So.
Did you make documents and stuff, or could you go on the internet and?
Oh no, you didn't. When we started, let's see, internet for us probably would have been. No, the internet was not available to normal folks. Like people that just had, back until probably 96 or 97. That was in your house.
Wasn't it really slow back then?
And it was like, for example, for us, y'all have done videos on your phone, stuff like that.
Yeah.
For me to recreate a video that was 10, 15 minutes long, back when computers first started doing this and I had the ability to do it, that was a day and a half to 2 days of my computer running nonstop just doing that video. Where you can do it, where you can take like right now, for me to do what I'm doing right here on this would have been a week-long process to get it converted, where I can do it now in it's about a 10 to 20 minute process to take our lectures on this and put it on YouTube. It's about a 20-minute of processing it, uploading it, and all that. And it was a week-long process, and you're not even putting it on the internet. You're just creating it to a file so somebody could watch it on a computer. Do what?
Like you can't think anything.
No, you can't. There was no syncing. There was no. Do what? When Facebook came out, yeah, I remember it, but I'm not a big Facebook guy, so I don't do that. Oh, I remember MySpace, yeah. I didn't do that either. No. I have a Facebook page, but I rarely look at it. All right, let's go back. Let's focus. All right. Let's say this. Let's say if 9 cups and 5 pies. 9 cups in 5 pies. Now, this is like a recipe. So if there takes 9 cups to make 5 pies, they want to know how much it takes, whatever it is, flour, sugar, whatever. If it takes 9 cups in 5 pies, then they want to know how much it takes for 1 pie. So you basically have this. Okay, you have 9 cups over 5 pies, which then is going to be 5 into 9. Okay, 5 goes into 9 one time, be 5, remainder 4. Add a decimal, bring it up. Add a 0 and bring it down. 5 into 40 goes 8 times. Okay. 5 times 8 is 40, so that's a remainder of 0, so it stops there, and so it's 1.8 cups per pie. Now, obviously, that's one of those that is not acceptable to go ahead and make your own abbreviation up. Okay, it's not CPP. Okay, because obviously you say that to somebody and they're going to go, what? So you write out the ones that, except for the ones that I've talked to you about, gallons, miles per gallon, liters per day, stuff like that. Yeah.
What was the name of your college?
I went to the University of North Texas and didn't. All right, now. 14 cups for 8 servings. Okay. And once again, I want you to write it as a fraction. So first of all, it's always whatever they've listed first is going to go on top. Then we have what's on bottom. Okay, and once again, that's cups and serving. So if it's 14 cups per 8 servings, they want to know how many cups per 1 serving. Okay, same thing. You just divide 8 into 14. 8 goes into 14, not 8 times. 1 time, be 8. Remainder 6. Bring down my 0. 8 into 60 goes 7 times, be 56. Remainder 4. Bring down another 0. 8 into 40 goes 5 times, be 40. Remainder 0. So 1.75 cups per serving. So, for example, here when we talk about average speed, okay, we said average speed is equal to the distance over time. And if they give us this, we went 27 meters in 18 seconds. Okay, well, obviously, which one is the distance, 27 meters or 18 seconds? Okay, so for average speed, then, that's going to be equal to 27 meters over 18 seconds. Okay, which simply is 18 into 27. Okay. And we divide that out, okay? Now, obviously, there's no homework tonight. On tomorrow, we'll review for your exam, then your exam will be Wednesday, okay? So you need to study for your English and sit down, Zach. You need to study for English and history tomorrow, right? Yeah. English and history tomorrow, math and Bible on Wednesday, electives on Thursday, science and Spanish on Friday, okay? You may go.